Hey, what's up, guys? We have a ban announcement that's going to be dropping tomorrow, and I wanted to kind of take one last opportunity to put some thoughts out there here on this platform. Monstrous Rage is going to get banned. I'm calling it now. That is I have been calling that for weeks, as many people have. The card is incredibly powerful. It is giant growth plus perma trample in red. That should never have been a thing. And the public outcry for it is so loud that I don't believe Wizards is going to just ignore that. I think they're going to placate the masses and ban Monstrous Rage. Thank goodness, right? Now, does anything else in the red package get banned? I don't think it matters. Now, I'm going to explain. Because, yes, if Corey Steele got banned, if Manifold Mouse got banned, if something like Heartfire Hero got banned, it would change the tenor of those decks. They would have to adjust in how they operate. I've seen some people throwing around, like, Screaming Nemesis maybe is worth a consideration. I don't know about that one, but I wouldn't be mad to see it go, you know? Because at the end of the day, I just want the whole format to slow down. And we have so many amazing red options that for a very minimal mana investment and a very little card investment can deal an obscene amount of damage. That is just a thing that exists right now. If you were to take Monstrous Rage out, if you were to take Manifold Mouse out, even if you were to take Corey Steel Cutter out, we still have Boros Charm, we still have Bolt Wave, we still have Wild Ride, you know, not to mention just a whole host of other crazy, hasty creatures. Like, there's a ton of very powerful damage in red right now. Slowing it down a little bit, making it less consistent would be a good thing for the format. I'm not saying don't do that. But at the end of the day, we're still in a turn 3 format, like maybe turn 4 if we're lucky. But like, I miss when you could put a 5-drop in a standard deck, and even if it wasn't efficient enough to be meta or super consistent, it wasn't embarrassing. And we're at a point right now where if I look at a standard deck list and it has a 5-drop in it, it better have a cost reduction clause on it. Otherwise, it's a mistake to have it in there. And one a good example of that, or something I want to call out, Yuna is a card from Final Fantasy that a ton of people are really trying to make happen right now, and I think that card is great. I think Yuna is a fantastic card that is capable of opening up a really crazy, big, late-game power package, similar to the Zur Overlord builds that we've seen in the past. But right now, the red decks are so fast that anything trying to get Yuna online with any amount of consistency needs to just ramp to the moon. Which, okay, sure, but like, even those decks right now are not particularly consistent, and they're not as strong as I would like them to be. You know, I want that kind of a play pattern. I want ramp decks to exist. I want mid-range to exist. I want crazy control decks to exist. I want a truly diverse format, and one that is slow enough to allow room to brew. When was the last time you saw somebody try to brew around like a 6-drop or a 5-drop? Like, I want to build a deck that has Gilgamesh from Final Fantasy in it that isn't embarrassing. But right now, like, I can't in good conscience ever consider playing that card. I just can't. Like, and I've literally made a living trying to force janky, weird decks into standard on Twitch. That is literally what I do every day of the week. And I even look at that and think, like, this doesn't work. I can't do this. And there was a time when I could look at any, like, I looked at Arcane Adaptation and went, okay. Or not Arcane Adaptation, what is it? Arcane Bombardment was the one I'm thinking of. I looked at Arcane Bombardment and was like, all right, we can figure this out. Like, this will be a little slow, but we can do it. And I did. I had 3 or 4 different variants of Arcane Bombardment that were super fun. Not consistent, not meta contenders, but they could chalk up wins and they weren't embarrassing and they were fun on the ladder. Hell, I got to Diamond, and I think, I don't know if any of those actually took me all the way to Mythic, but like, we put up some dubs and really had a good time with those. Trying to do something similar now, like, 1,000-Year Storm is legal, Gratuitous Violence is legal, the entire Defiler cycle is still legal for like a month. Like, there's so many amazing cards at the 5 and 6-drop slot that are just not even a consideration because they would be truly embarrassing to try to resolve in anything but the most casual of duels. And I think that's a shame. I would like to see standards slow back down, but that doesn't happen from a couple of bans. Even if they were to ban 10 frickin' cards tomorrow, which is not going to happen for the record, but even if they did, and all of them were red, well, all of them would have to be red. Otherwise, the format would still be incredibly fast. And it would just, the design philosophy is such now that we need to be able to do a ton of damage very, very quickly, and we need to have really low cost interaction. Standard plays like old school Modern. Like, it's playing like Modern from 5-6 years ago. Modern 5-6 years ago was a beloved format that I know a lot of people miss. And so bringing it back in any capacity is certainly not a bad thing. However, I miss Standard from 5 or 6 years ago. I didn't like Modern back then because that was already too fast for my personal tastes, right? It's just personal taste. I enjoyed the way the Standard played back then. And now we've reached a point where Modern is like vintage. I'm an outsider looking in, but like we have free spells and like turn 1 combos, and like it looks insane to me right now, the power level of Modern. I can only imagine what it's like playing in it right now. Quick editor's note, that little aside about Modern was absolutely out of bounds, and I am not fully confident on what I'm talking about on that. I know Modern Horizons has sped the format up dramatically. That was ultimately the point I was trying to get to. Most of the free spells that were playable at this point have been banned, from what I understand, with the, like, you know, Fury and whatnot going. And I don't believe there are any turn 1 combos per se. There's some crazy nut draws, but like, you know, with Breach getting banned, I don't think that's... Anyway, I need you to know. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to Modern. Now back to that guy who doesn't know what he's talking about. If it's your jam, if that's your taste, enjoy, but like, woo. But at the same time, like, I like 60-card competitive Magic that is on the slower side. And so do I just like need to invest in Pauper? Is that where I go next? I genuinely don't know. Like, please let me like sound off in the comments if that's a good idea to help scratch this itch. But like, as a Standard arena grinder who really enjoyed old Standard, I gotta say new Standard just doesn't feel the same, and it's too fast for me, and I think it's too fast for a lot of other folks out there. I'm still playing Commander, I'm tinkering with Brawl, and I'm still playing Standard on my streams for the moment. I don't expect that to ever truly go away, because I want to have my finger on the pulse, and I want to find the fun even in incredibly fast, hostile environments, because we have in the past. You know, I know you can pan for gold and find the janky playable decks, even if you got to slog through a lot of stuff and get a whole lot of frickin' double striking Heartfire heroes in the face to get there. But you can. I'm hopeful that someday we'll get back to that, but it's going to take probably 2 or 3 rotations and a fundamental design philosophy shift from Wizards, and I don't anticipate that second thing is going to happen. Because right now, this design philosophy of making every set stronger than the last one is selling packs. And we haven't burnt out yet as a community, even though a number of individuals are uninstalling Arena, a number of individuals are walking away from the game. Enough folks are coming on board that this behavior, this philosophy appears to be encouraged. And as long as people are voting with their wallets, they're going to keep doing this. And so Standard is just going to be a turn 3 format for the foreseeable future. And we'll get to a point where it becomes a turn 2 format at this rate, probably within 2 years, 3 years. I guess I don't know. That's just trying to predict the future is perhaps a fool's errand, but it's not crazy to think that we're going there. I don't think anyway. And that bums me out a little bit. Yeah. So Monstrous Rage is going to get banned tomorrow. Yay?